In almost every culture, you find that when somebody sneezes, it's met with the response of Gesundheit, or God bless you, or Gesund, or something blessing the person with good health. Where does that come from? So it actually comes from this week's Parsha, believe it or not. The Medrash tells us that Jacob, who dies in the end of this week's Parsha, this is the end of the book of Genesis, that Jacob was the first person in history to get sick before he died. Prior to Jacob, what would happen is somebody would sneeze, and their soul, just like it entered in through the nostrils and gave them life, the soul would exit through their nostrils and their life would end. And that's why we have the tradition of saying, God bless you when somebody sneezes. Okay, that's good trivia, biblical trivia. But what happened with Jacob? So the Medrash says that Jacob actually davened, he prayed to God, and he said, please, God, don't let me die suddenly and just have my neshama, my soul, expire, but allow me to get sick before I die. That's what Jacob davened for. That's what he prayed for. Now, that does not seem normal, right? Who that's watching this video right now would not rather have their neshama suddenly disappear one day than a long, protracted illness? Why would a person choose, why would Jacob daven to Hashem that he should have a period of time of illness before he dies? So the commentaries explain that Jacob wanted a little bit of a warning sign. He wanted to know in advance when his end was coming. Prior to Jacob, you had no idea. A person would be walking down the street, everything would be wonderful, and boom, he would sneeze and his neshama would leave. Jacob didn't want that for himself. Why? Because Jacob had a message that he needed to impart upon his children, that he needed to gather his children. He wanted to bring his children together and share with them his vision for each and every one of them. Today we might call this something like an ethical will. He wanted to share his values. He wanted to share his passion. He wanted to share what was driving him in life, and he wanted to bless each and every one of his children uniquely and individually to tell them what their unique greatness would be. And it's kind of interesting. He gathers all of his children together and he blesses them. But if you look at the blessings, they're not exactly reading like blessings. You know, if I said to you, give me a blessing, I would expect to hear in return, you should live a long life. You should have a great livelihood. You should have lots of nachas from your children. But if you read the blessings that Jacob gave his children, they sound more like critiques and criticisms than blessings, because we know that the real blessing that a parent can give a child is to say to them, look, you're amazing, you're wonderful, you're great, you can do so much. You have some challenges. Everybody has challenges. You have areas where you need strength. Let me help you, let me bless you, let me help you to encourage yourself to work in these areas and strengthen yourself. And if you do, there's nothing that can stop you. But if you don't, and you don't address your weaknesses and your challenges in life, then you'll never be the person that you can be. So Jacob wants to be able to bring all of his children together and sit down with each and every one of them individually and point out their greatness and also point out their challenges and the difficulties that they might struggle with in life. And therefore he prayed, give me a period of time beforehand so I'll know, so I don't just expire one day. The takeaway for us from this is nobody knows. Nobody knows when their last day on this earth is going to be. And therefore we have to treat every day like this could be the final day. We should communicate to our children. We should communicate to our spouse. We should communicate to our friends, to the people around us in life, what they mean to us, how important they are to us, that we believe in them, what we see in them, what we dream for, especially with our children, and what we yearn for in them. And make sure to do that now, because you might sneeze one day and that could be the end. Who knows? Okay, wishing you all a Shabbat Shalom from Yerushalayim, the holy city, missing everybody, and sending you all lots of love. Good Shabbos.